Congratulations on starting the process for your D8 visa. We are also on the D8 visa, which is the digital nomad visa. And in terms of how much money you would need to save up before actually moving to Portugal, I'm going to be honest, it completely depends on your situation. But I can tell you how to get started and what your first upfront costs will likely be. First thing you need to do is actually get an appointment with your VFS office. This is where you get assigned a temporary visa. So it's broken up into zones throughout the US, and where you live will dictate which VFS office you need to go to. In our case, we needed to go to the DC VFS office. This was actually a bigger expense than we expected. Not the actual fees for the application and the visa processing, but the expense of flying to DC with our dogs and booking a hotel in DC. That actually ended up adding up very quickly, as well as some of the costs of getting the documentation in order for that VFS appointment. The VFS is kind of like a middleman between the Portuguese consulate and immigration offices and the US. So they make sure that you have all the paperwork filled out and they make sure that you are ready to go through with the process. To do that, you also will already need to have purchased an insurance plan that is required by the Portuguese government for the D8 visa. It's pretty affordable compared to the US. It's about €1,000 a year for two of us. And then you also will need to secure a lease. So that's going to be another upfront cost. You need to plan the date that you actually want to arrive in Portugal. I would give yourself several weeks after your VFS appointment to actually leave the US if you want to do it more of a traditional route. We kind of went around that in a weird way, and I can go into that more about how we were able to have basically moved to Portugal before the approval of our visa. If you want to, just let me know in the comments. But that's also going to be a cost. It is very common for people wanting to move abroad to Portugal to have an actual vacant apartment that they are paying monthly rent on, because for the D8 visa, you are required to have a 6-month lease at least in one address. Some agents even say 12 months. This is going to be the biggest upfront cost, the travel for your VFS appointment and paying for a lease that you may or may not be living in that place. That also comes with other implications of negative impact on housing here for people who already live in Portugal. So there are a lot of considerations there, and where you're going to live, the region you want to live in, and how much your lease is going to be completely depends on you. We are a couple with no kids, so we live in a T1. Some people need a 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom house, and they're bringing their whole family with them. So it's a very different situation, and how much you spend will depend on you. But I can go into it in more detail if you want. Just let me know in the comments.